Welcome back to Fast Market. I'm Tom White, joined by Kevin Hinkson. We've got Scott Bauer back. He's the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Guys, just a quick market update. We're pretty much stabilized up about 1 1/4.
NASDAQ of 1.8% though. A runner.
A runner in there. As VIX continues to fall, we'll see if they find support around that 17 level in the VIX, because we did find that last week after the severe rally that we saw, and it was above 21 earlier this week. So see if that bounces back at all. We did want to hit on one thing before we get in our discussion on FANG Plus, guys, and that's our Starbucks. Stock's up pretty significantly post results. Really good report out of this particular company. China comps were expected to be negative by the street. Actually came in plus 1%. I think that really helped. But the average ticket price rose. So Kevin going in the mornings and buying croissants.
Buying Katie Ryan her croissant in the morning, and my daughter her latte.
Oh, I'll take one of those, and I'll take one of those.
Next thing I get,
and just put it on my loyalty account.
Exactly.
That's right.
I'm like,
and
what the heck? I don't drink coffee, Scott.
We'll see how Uber Eats, which is expanding their delivery of Starbucks, will probably do pretty well this weekend in Chicago with the cold weather. People
going out. Yeah,
that's right.
But here's the great thing about this trade. Dead wrong in terms of direction on this trade, but because of the volatility, because of the little bit of capital we were able to, we're down $30.
$30 on it. Because we've
got another week.
We bought a 1 week wide 63 put calendar, so $63 is where we needed the stock to go to.
7 cents.
It's up near 67.
So the good news is, being dead wrong, we didn't have much at risk here.
Yep, and that's the key going into this trade. That's why we did 10 of them, though, Kevin, because the cost to get into that calendar, it's only 1 week wide. So the risk wasn't that bad downsize wise, but we did ramp up the number of contracts that we did just due to that. But that being said, what do you do to manage that type of trade, Kevin? Do you just let those shorts go out worthless today?
And then you've got a 1 week lottery ticket on 10 63 puts.
Yeah.
So now you could adjust that more, but now you're changing the makeup of it. You could sell the 64 or 65 put in that week and try to get it, but now you're
adding risk to it.
Right. Now you just added $2 in risk to it.
Yeah, and we talked about this yesterday too, Scott. We used the 63 put calendar as an example, right? To take a bearish type stance in Starbucks, because it had outperformed the overall market by about 15%. But at the same time, we did give that caveat of, if you're bullish on that, maybe you look at the 68 call.
So that would have been, looking back, that would have been a better play.
So I'm laughing because the spread, the signal that we actually did at Prosper yesterday, we did both. We did the double calendar.
Okay.
We did the 62.5 put calendar.
So you were right on
and the
that.
68 call calendar.
Okay.
We did them both because we saw a move coming, just didn't know really which way. Now that we're up towards 68 today, that thing's going to pay off nicely.
Yes, it is.
Yep, and the 68 calls that are actually expiring today are only worth a couple pennies. And the 1 week wide 68 call calendar, if you were to close that, a weekly one, I think this was about 15
cents. How much did the call calendar cost? Do you remember?
Well, we did it a combination. We did both of them for 19 cents.
There you go.
We paid 19 cents to get the put calendar and the call calendar.
And the call itself
is 31 cents.
Yeah, and if you get Starbucks to continue to grind up towards 68, that thing's only going to expand in price.
And you got another week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, let's get into our FANG Plus discussion. Now, we've got earnings next week. It's the biggest week as far as the number of S&P 500 companies reporting. We've got Apple. We've got Facebook. We've got Tesla, all reporting. What are you focusing on, Scott, going into next week as far as a name that interests you?
From a trading perspective or a market perspective?
We'll take both.
Yeah,
whatever one's better.
Okay. I like Tesla from a trading perspective.
It's been beaten up.
It's been beaten up on some pretty negative news that has come out. We've talked about this for months, that there's this range in Tesla, right? 270-ish, 350, 270, 350.
Yeah.
We got down to...
It's been in that range for about 2 years.
Yeah, we got down to the mid-280s yesterday, low 280s. I like this name going into earnings from a trading perspective.
Right.
I think you have to look at Apple, not for their report, but for their guidance, what they say, just as a more macro overall look at the marketplace.
So many of these FANG Plus names are at key levels. And think about it, Facebook, with everything that's been going on with that stock, how important are their earnings next week? Tesla, Apple, all these names are going to be phenomenal traders next week.
Right. And think about this, Kevin, and we've got the platform up there. We've actually got a short put vertical on in Tesla right now. We're short the 285, 280 put vertical. I think we collected $1 on that. We had $4 in risk. It was getting hurt yesterday, but the stock's now back above 292. So we're doing okay on that, but it expires February 1st, next Friday.
Yeah.
So do you look at this as maybe a gift that the stocks bounce back up, or do you keep this on going into earnings?
Going into earnings, well,
I think you take it off and reevaluate and do something else.
You
for
can do
earnings.
lower strikes if you still
do
have that.
something else for earnings. I think because I actually did the same thing yesterday, and I talked to Oliver about this. I had the same strategy, but with the caveat that this was so short term that I wanted to take it off before earnings and then come up with a different strategy for earnings.
Yeah, and that's a great way. You can reassess, right?
always.
So if you wanted to buy those back, it'd cost you about $1.88, Kevin, on that particular, and we sold it for $1. But that being said, this thing was worth nearly $3 yesterday as the stock was below 285.
Yeah, you know, I guess it depends from here is what's your outlook in Tesla?
If you still have that assumption that it's going to probably bounce in earnings, then you keep it on.
Right, because remember, you're short the 285s here, which are, you know, pretty significantly. It's a bullish play.
Yeah.
Make no mistakes.
Yeah, and I like Scott's take on it too. You know, just based on what your expectations are going into those earnings results. But that being said, Tesla did fall pretty significantly, even with the market rising rising this week a little bit. So, all right, let's move on. Is there another name that you guys are looking at? So Tesla, Tesla's a good trade if you know, to catch those bottoms and sell those tops. It's been a good stock to do that, and you just have to be right with your timing.
I think Facebook is one that it's going to be a mover. I think, you know, just the fact that it's having this move today is important. And think about this: how the timing of these trades are so important. We talk about timing all the time with earnings plays. Think about how these could move right up to earnings. Timing of when you do these spreads is going to be vital, because they could move if you do it this time of day versus the end of the day. It could be 15, 20 cents different in a spread. So timing, if you're going to trade these, is vital to know when the earnings are going to come out before or after the bell and time it appropriately.
Right, and we always talk about that, Kevin, because our show's on at 10 a.m. and we'll talk about a lot of names that that have earnings and give example type of strategies that we look at, Scott. But I think the key is, do you make that trade at 10 a.m. Central Time when we're talking about it? Or if you have an assumption on the stock, do you wait till like that last hour of trading?
I usually go around early afternoon.
Okay.
Because what I've seen, especially in a lot of these big names, they're going to make their move, whether it's a day before or early in the day. And then when it gets kind of to that last couple hours of trade, usually settles in right before earnings. That's the period of time I like to make my decision and get that trade in.
At the Money Straddle and Facebook, whether it's the 149 or 150, just over $10.
$10, yeah. So I mean,
7% or
yeah,
so.
You've got to figure there's probably about an 8% move price,
and it'll probably go higher early next week.
That seems low for
Watch
Facebook.
this number right there, that 58 vol where it's that thing's trading right now. That'll should expand in early next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key is, what's your assumption? Do you want to take, if you're neutral to bearish on Facebook, maybe you trade it today when the stock's up $3.70. If you think they're going to run into more problems. Zuckerberg just came out today and he says, we do not sell data, but...
So finally you're starting to hear from the Tesla lead.
He's fighting back a little bit.
Facebook
when they stay out of the headlines, it's usually positive for the stock.
Yep.
Exactly.
A lot of headlines today. We don't sell people's data, but we do sell ads, and the people that buy ads from us get the people's data. So I don't know how that works.
Kind of roundabout there, roundabout way of saying
Is it semantics, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you have to start looking at a little bit. But let's, so that we'll look at those names definitely next week for some examples, type of strategies for our viewers to take a look at. But let's get to a couple trades that we have to adjust today, Kevin. We've got Lululemon. We're short to 145 calls that expire. They're in the money right now.
Yeah, this is just a close. That's all. We're going to take our money. We've made a little money. It's gone a little bit past our strike. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you want to close the entire position.
The entire position.
Side of that too.
Yeah, so we've got a one lot stock replacement strategy that's done actually pretty well.
Yeah, the overall has done great on
because it went above our short strike, but we're long that 135 call in there. So that one worked out well. Kevin, we also have KBH. We got some home builders reporting earnings. KBH up there. And I think we have a long position that we need to do something against if we want. April 20 calls. We let our previous 22 calls expire worthless, so we probably need to sell something against that. And Kevin's going to bring up KBH there. Just to kind of reduce some of our exposure, stocks actually not up today, which is pretty surprising because it seems like everything's up. But you got 21 days to February, no weekly options in here. Do you sell the 21s or do you create a calendar?
You probably just go out and sell but since it's below there, maybe go to the 22. That's not really enough.
Not a lot of
I think
premium
you go to the 21s here.
Yeah.
All right, so Kevin's going to go ahead and put that in. All right, I'd like to thank Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, for joining us today. Always good stuff, Scott. Appreciate it. Kevin Hinks, as always. That does it for Fast Market. Tune in Monday at 10 a.m. Central Time right here on the TD Ameritrade Network. And have a great weekend, everybody.